Okay, so much to remember about the great Diego Maradona, who sadly passed away yesterday at the age of 60. So we decided to do top fives. Let's get cracking. That's your number five.
It is. It was a nasty game, this, wasn't it? And Maradona wasn't happy going into it. It was coming face to face there with the butcher of Bilbao, Goycochea. And if you remember, he'd broke his ankle actually the year before. So going into this game, there were already that awareness of what he had to come. And it was an unbelievable game. There was a few bad challenges in it, in the cup final in '84. But it absolutely... It was carnage. It turned out to be Maradona's last game, actually, for Barcelona, and it ended in disgrace, really. One of the players went up to Maradona, basically, and waved him off. Sola waved him off the pitch with a Spanish gesture, which means, well, I can't say it. I'd like to say it, but I can't say it. We all know what it will mean. Diego absolutely went mad and charged at him, and there were kung fu kicks going off left, right, and centre. It turned in. He ended up having to apologise, didn't he, to the king?
It was extraordinary.
For people who haven't seen it, you've got to look at it. It just turned into a disgrace. It basically ended up with 22 players punching each other and kicking each other in disgrace. And people said he was a bad loser, but if you look at the history he'd had, and he'd been kicked left, right and centre of his time there at Barcelona, and he just lost it, and it ended up being his last game there for Barcelona. So,
well, when he had his ankle done by Goycochea, I think I'm right in saying Goycochea framed the boots, had him put in a box frame that he'd done Maradona's ankle with. So it was a prize scalp. In those days, that's how bad.
Well, it was marked, yeah, and everybody knew it, and everybody knew what it was going to be like. But he used to get away with it time and time again. Well, this is another one that's doing the rounds, isn't it?
Brilliant.
I mean, doing a warm up before the UEFA Cup semi-final, second leg, I think it was '89 versus Bayern, and that song was on, and he was there just dancing and doing kick-ups with his laces undone. Catching it on his neck, doing loads of tap-ups on his head, just so chilled and relaxed. And it's just, you've got to watch that video. It's an absolutely brilliant moment where it showed how relaxed he was for some of these big games and absorbed all the pressure. And so, let's say, to be doing that and the things he was doing with his laces absolutely not tied was hilarious. It's a brilliant video.
What I love about it as well, it kind of, maybe I'm overdoing it, but to me it symbolises just how comfortable he was with the ball at his feet on a football pitch. Didn't matter what was going on around him, didn't matter a camera was on him, didn't matter that 50-odd thousand pairs of eyes were on him as well. He was just at home and
he even got his
comfortable.
teammates doing it, but didn't quite move the same way as him or have the skills of him, but 10 for effort.
Dancing footballer. It is a brilliant little clip. Good song as well.
As Redondo tries to go through, there's a shot! Glorious goal! He's done it! Maradona!
Well, this was a scandal, huge scandal, wasn't it? This one, 1994. Didn't want to play football anymore, but they somehow were desperate for him to play in this World Cup. Now, to get him in some kind of shape before this World Cup. And then everybody remembers that moment when he scored against Greece. He ran up to the camera, eyes bulging in a 4-0 victory, and everybody thought Maradona was back. But before the next game against Nigeria, he picked up a cold, didn't he? His guy, who he brought with him from Argentina, who had helped him get fit and lose the weight, gave him an assortment of drugs to combat his sinus problems, help with his weight management, which was ongoing. He played the whole 90 minutes, and guess what? He got called in for a urine sample at the end of the game.
To control the play in midfield, the way that Maradona has been able to do. And he's hurting England again here. It's a brilliant run. It's one of the World Cup great goals.
Do you know what game that was, Ed?
Goal, I think it's the... Is it Belgium?
No, it's against England.
Is that the England? Is that
against England?
The big goal?
Absolutely. And for those who can't remember it, Maradona received the ball just inside his own half. He's under pressure from Peter Reid and Beardsley. He pirouettes out of danger, takes a heavy touch while driving towards goal. Reid can only jog behind him. It looks like he's got a sack of coal on his back as knocks the ball past him as if he's a traffic cone. Maradona then takes a shot, goes past Shilton before passing the ball into the back of the net. Dear me. And he never once touched it with his right foot. All with his left foot. Who says you needed to use both feet? Mason Greenwood, he can use both feet. Maradona had one foot. That's all he needed. Messi's got one foot. That's all he needs.
Maradona's left foot. It's just ridiculous.
And that was all against England.
That was a great moment. Same game, my number one.
Maradona with Shilton. Looked like handball, that. Maradona celebrating, and the goal's going to be given.
Remember when I said yesterday, not everybody knew it was handball immediately. The commentator didn't know there as well. And we didn't until we saw that photo. The photo on the front of the paper the next day. Absolutely handball. So, Hand of God, I'm not going to dwell on it. Listen, it's one of the biggest headlines ever in World Cup history. So whether you think, and there's a lot of people tweeting in at the moment, whether you think that's what he should be remembered for, the Hand of God, or the brilliant goal that you just described so well, the brilliant footballer that was Diego Maradona, that's up to you. But either way, an absolute football god.